I see we have 13 people that have joined so far. I think there was a total of 50 something replies of whether they were coming or they were interested. So before we get to the meat and potatoes of it, just a few things that we could touch on. some of you are aware, I started a YouTube page. It started during my last bout with COVID, which was a fun 14 days. Thankfully, we're past that, and I started doing more writing, but I was doing more just as a form of therapy, speaking on camera and posting the videos to my YouTube page. At the time, it had a different name. It was just my name as my YouTube page, but I changed it recently, and the YouTube page is called Just a Piece of My Mind. And Just a Piece of My Mind is spelled with P-E-A-C-E. So if you're on YouTube and you just type in Just a Piece of My Mind, you'll see some of the videos I've posted before. You'll see some of the music that I've written, that has been performed on a Disney Cruise Line. There's a music video on there. So that's in the works. That's a process that's ongoing. And over the last month and a half, this idea has come to mind. I will tell you, I know that there's going to be people joining from here in Florida. There's people joining from North Carolina. My second mother is in North Carolina, Kathy. There's people in New Jersey. There's people in Pennsylvania. I know we have at least one watching us from a cruise ship, currently somewhere in the Mediterranean, in the Caribbean. And we have someone in London. We have my best friend and his wife, who are relaxing, vacationing in Spain. And I'm grateful for them, for all of you, for tuning in. This is something that is, we all are a part of this. There's no one that isn't. So yeah, we have the YouTube channel. I've been posting at least 1 or 2 updates a day. Again, Just a Piece of My Mind, spelled with P-E-A-C-E. And we now have this. What is this? Why is there a baseball next to me? Why is there a book in front of me? There's a book with me everywhere I go, between songwriting, just little ideas here and there that I have, and sometimes I turn them into music, sometimes I turn them into a YouTube video, sometimes I just post random crap on Facebook. But this book, I'll probably look down at it a handful of times during this video, and we will touch base, no pun intended, on each of the topics that I wrote. If any of you know what this month is, you may have an idea as to where I'm going. So here we go. Some of you know my background. Some of you know things, life events that have happened in my life in recent years, some as far back as my childhood, and it's not something I want to keep in anymore. It's just not a healthy thing for me to do. So that is what has inspired me to take this route. I didn't have the easiest childhood. There's missing parts of my childhood that I make sure that my sons do not have to deal with. My sons are encouraged on a regular basis to share, express their feelings, cry, whatever it may be, to eliminate the toxins. And the only way to do that is to find some sort of expression, some sort of release. With me, it was always writing. I traveled a lot. I went to, over my lifetime, 105 Bruce Springsteen concerts. I've been on 26 Disney cruises. I've traveled fairly often to North Carolina for sporting events. I've traveled all over the country for sporting events. And those were, looking back on it, they were all fun. But they were temporary. They were temporary heals. Hold on a second. I'm getting some pop-ups here of additional people that would like to be invited. So you're all getting the same message, maybe at a different time. If you have to cut off, if you have to watch it at a later time, totally understand. All right, that's enough. I've had enough of that. So yeah, I want my kids to have a different experience than my experience. Now, that doesn't mean that every single thing in my life has been negative. It doesn't mean that every single person that I've crossed paths with is negative. But from a very early age, I did not have things easy. It probably has created the person that I am today. The good and the not so good. Well, the point moving forward is to make the good more than the not so good. And that's going to be, to some of you, to my family, it may be a little shocking to hear, but I'm going to be more vocal. I'm going to be more vocal with my feelings. No matter who you are, if you're in my world, if you choose to be in my world, you're going to be hearing a lot more of my feelings. You can accept them, you cannot accept them, but at the end of the day, it's me that has to be happy with the release of those feelings. That being said, this month is Mental Health Awareness Month. I had written a Facebook post recently where I'm kind of sick of these designated months and these designated days, whether it's your National Pet Day or Sibling Day or Pizza Day, Donut Day, Chocolate Day, day to high five your neighbor that you talk to once a year day, whatever it is. No, these are not days. If you like pizza, eat pizza every day. You'll wind up, most likely with some health issues, but if that's what you want to do, you do it. The Mental Health Awareness Day, I will be bluntly honest with you, and I will call that horseshit. Mental health awareness is an everyday thing. It's an every single day thing. For me, it's something I deal with every day. I didn't know that years ago. I may have been in denial in recent years, but this is an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing for my children. It's an everyday thing for my family, whether we speak or whether we don't speak. It's an everyday thing for my family. It's an everyday thing for my friends. It's an everyday thing for someone in my neighborhood, multiple people in my neighborhood. All of you have someone, whether you know it or not, whether you want to believe it or not, all of you have someone that battles some sort of mental or emotional illness. So that's where we're gonna start off with this. That's a little bit of my backstory. Only in recent years has my birth father been present in my life. However, it's safe for me to say, now he doesn't have Facebook, but that's irrelevant because I've told him this to begin with. He's a big contributor to what I've turned into today in terms of reserved. There's a side of me that has been, a lot of resentment, and it's not just on him. I know that I have some immediate family watching me right now. I know that I have siblings watching. I know that I have aunts, cousins, and I have somebody else watching too, and the message is the same. There's no more holding back. My feelings are going to come out, as they have for the last month and a half. And my hope is to spread the word that holding things in isn't healthy. And I'm going to do my part. My sons are going to join me on this venture, and we are going to make a difference. I've talked about it. I've celebrated it, although I've been criticized for celebrating it. Why would you celebrate such a day like that? Because I'm here. Some of you know on March 4th of 2015, I went in for what we thought was a simple shoulder surgery. And it's a day and an event that changed the lives of my children. It changed the lives of their mother. It changed the lives of my siblings. It changed the lives of anybody that cared about me. I woke up on the fourth day with a blue tube coming from my neck, and I was on a ventilator. I was on life support for 4 days, and when I opened my eyes at the foot of my bed, my friend Amelia was there, and I was oblivious as to what had gone on, but I knew something wasn't right if Amelia was there for a shoulder surgery recovery. Little by little, I was told what happened, and from that day up until recently, I've always joked about it. I've made jokes about it. That's how I've coped over the years. But it's not a joke anymore. It's not a joke. I used to say that the people that suffered that day were the people that were there, the people that watched me in intensive care, the people that came in, held my hand, kissed my forehead, kissed my cheek, prayed over me, family back home in New Jersey, family in North Carolina. They're the ones that went through the struggle. That's what I convinced myself. And I used to call it the best 4-day nap of my life. I've learned there's a lot more damage that came from that day for me, and I'm learning from my kids 7 years later than I had realized. And I'm not going to joke about that anymore. This is something that we're going to conquer, and this is something that we are going to address, and it's something that we're going to heal. But that was a life-changing day. When I had woken up from being taken off the life support and all that mess, and my doctor came in and told me every single thing that happened, and he told me, or I told him, I said, Jesus Christ, I was really lucky. And he said, don't ever say that again. He said, you were blessed. He said, you were surrounded by good doctors. You were surrounded by nurses. But somebody else saved you that day. And I used to believe that it was my kids that saved me. That I came back for my kids. And I did. I did come back for my kids. While those 4 days were going on, I had an experience that I've shared with plenty of people. My friend back at home, JM, he was then dealing with illness with his father, and I shared my story with his father while his father was in a hospital, while his father was home in his final days, and I shared that experience with JM. I shared that experience with JM's father, JM's brothers, and JM's mother. And I remember the look on Larry, JM's dad's face, and he told me, he appreciated it. He appreciated hearing the story. It changed his view on certain things of where you can be and where do you go after life. What is that like? Well, I can tell you that I have experience of that. During my 4-day life support journey, at some point during that time, I do remember what it looked like. I do remember the smells. I remember the sounds. I remember not specific faces, but I remember almost like cloud-like objects. But it was not cloud-like objects. It was an angelic sense to it, moving around slowly, but in no rush. And I also had a hand. I had a hand grip my left hand, and the hand gripped me like this and rubbed. He rubbed with his thumb on the top of my left hand, and he said it 3 times. He said, "Make sure you take care of yourself. Make sure you take care of yourself. And make sure you take care of yourself." Excuse me for getting emotional. Old age is kicking in and I'm getting more emotional. But the person that rubbed my hand, was my Uncle Tony. My Uncle Tony was 36 years old, the same age I was on life support. And my Uncle Tony passed away in 1990 or 1991. I don't recall the exact year. I remember getting the phone call and picking up and listening in on the phone call that Uncle Tony passed away. So that experience I had while on life support, and feeling his hand, hearing his voice, and telling me that I needed to take care of myself. I'll never forget it. I feel it to this day, but I've thought I was doing a good job for the last 6+ years, 7+ years of just blowing that situation off and thinking it was everybody else that suffered, and the realization is that's not the case. It's not the case at all. So a lot of things have led me to here. I've had a support system, small. I prefer it that way. There are some people in my life that I wish were more supportive than they are, but that's not my problem to deal with. My problem to deal with are 2 little boys. I say little, but if you've seen them recently, they're not little. 6'1" and 15 years old is not little. 6 foot and 18 years old is not little. I'm 5'10 and a half, 5'11, depending on what high heels I wear on a certain day, and I'm still the short guy in the house. So they are my immediate support system. Like I said, I have a friend in Spain who's been by my side since we met at a Bruce Springsteen concert in Jacksonville. He's been the best. I have a sister who was my first love. That was my first love, my little sister. I took care of her, babysat, I dressed up in goofy outfits to make her laugh. I took my brother and sister everywhere. We took them to Disney World, took them to concerts, and that's been really important to me. I have a baseball family that has continued to be supportive. Brian Harris, I have a baseball family in New Jersey, where I was raised and where I was taught, and where a lot of my coaching skills. Bill Kastner, Bob Pashon, Raymond Talty, who's no longer with us, Phil Pashuli, also passed away, my high school coach, Tud Shelmay, Bill Frank, although at a rival high school, he's always supportive, even in recent years. We've stayed in touch through Facebook, and just all very supportive, and I don't forget where I come from. But I have a baseball family that's been very supportive. But I also have other people in my life who are very supportive to me too. But I need to be my biggest supporter. I need to be my biggest supporter. So on that day that I came off of life support, there was a quote that was said to me after I said that I was lucky and that my doctor told me I was blessed. And after that, he said, if you didn't know your purpose in life before, you better figure it out now. I've never unheard that message. I've repeated it to my kids. I've repeated it to family. I've repeated it to kids that I've coached. Anybody in my life. If I didn't know my purpose in life before, I better figure it out now. The first thing I thought was, my purpose is to be a father. And then once I got back into coaching, once I was healthy enough, I thought, my purpose is to coach kids and teach kids the game the right way, and ultimately form them to be good men, good husbands, good fathers, just good people. And that's what I believe my purpose was. In recent months, I've discovered a new purpose. And that's what I'm here to share with you right now. My sons and I have talked a lot recently. They've opened up to me a lot recently, and we came up with an idea. I'm going to take the initial steps and get the people involved that I'd like to have involved. I'm going to invite some people along that maybe aren't watching this and maybe aren't aware of what's going on, but we're going to start a foundation, an organization, whatever you want to call it. But we know what we want to call it. It's going to be called Homeruns for Hope. And the hashtag is Believe Out Loud Together. home runs for hope. Believe out loud together. And this is going to focus on youth and bringing the awareness to the youth community that battles some sort of mental and emotional illness. I've shared in a YouTube page. I've shared on Facebook. I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted by the negative stigma of mental health in this country. And if I could, thank you, Megan. Thank you. I needed that. Believe out loud together. But I want to break the cycle. I want to break the cycle within my family. I want to break the cycle for my kids. I want to break the cycle for myself. And I want to break the cycle for youth in general. And if the adult community can somehow join us for our purpose, then there's nobody left out. I promise you, nobody's left out. It's just we're going to aim this at youth that are dealing with any forms of emotional or mental illness. So what are we gonna do? How are we gonna get our message across? Well, this is where my hard work starts. That we are in the infancy stages of this, but my first steps are to spread the word, and over the next week, I'm not going to hesitate on starting this. Over the next week, I'm going to attempt to partner with Major League Baseball, with each of the Major League Baseball organizations. Yes, even that team up in New England. With the Major League Baseball Players Association. And Little League Baseball. And hopefully with their support, we can get the ball, no pun intended, we can get the ball rolling. So what are the things that I am going to do involving Major League Baseball, the organizations, the Players Associations, and Little League Baseball? How are we going to get this started? Well, I'm going to reach out to them, explain to them my purpose for this. Over the next 2 seasons, during the summer, starting in as soon as my boys are out from school next year, they could join me. Prior to that, I may start this alone, but then they can join me. And starting in the 2023 season, I'm going to attend games at half of the Major League stadiums here in the United States. And 62 kids will be chosen. 62, I think it's a pretty important number this past summer. So 62 kids chosen. And they're going to be chosen by that Major League Baseball's organization. The communities in each of the cities that we go to are going to pick their 62 kids. And these are 62 kids that participate in baseball or softball. And there are going to be 62 kids that deal with some form of mental illness, depression, anxiety, PTSD, anything. And just to be clear, you're looking at somebody that deals with all of them. So I want 62 kids chosen by the Major League Baseball clubs, and those 62 kids will be, let's let the next plane of DeSantis's migrants fly over. Okay, that's over. I want those 62 kids chosen because they've earned it in the classroom. They've earned it in the community. They've earned it by giving back in their own ways. Having the Major League Baseball Players Association involved with this, I hope that Major League Baseball players in each of the cities join us for on-field instruction with these 62 kids. Hopefully a Major League Baseball player or 2 or 3 or however many join my sons and I with on-field instruction at their home ballpark, free of charge. There's got to be something on a wider scale that touches the youth that are battling this silent killer. Say it like it is, it's a silent killer. If you don't speak up, and if you don't have the support to speak up, that's how these issues start. So starting in 2023, what I'm going to do on February 15th, February 15th of 2023, I'm going to start visiting each of the minor league facilities here in the state of Florida. And then on February 15th of 2024, I'm going to visit the minor league facilities in Arizona and attempt to do the same with 62 kids chosen by each of those teams that deserve to be recognized, deserve to be heard, deserve to be given the opportunity to spoken to by major league players, spoken to by others that have either been diagnosed, that currently battle any type of emotional or mental illness, and then they could enjoy an afternoon of baseball instruction by myself, by my sons, and hopefully a player or two, and then take in a game that night in their home ballpark. Now, Homeruns for Hope covers the entire series. For example, if we travel out to Dodger Stadium and we have a one-day instructional clinic for 62 kids, the amount of home runs that are hit during that entire series that we attend, we may only attend one game, but over the entire series, donations will be made per home run at a dollar amount yet to be determined, and it will go to a charity in that city that brings awareness and focuses solely on youth. It doesn't have to be youth athletes, but youth that are battling this silent killer of mental and emotional awareness. So that's where the Homeruns for Hope name comes in and plays into, where's the benefit? Is it just meeting players? Is it just getting to, get on field instruction? No, I want to take it a step further. I want to raise money. And so that's that part of it. I want to tell you quickly about someone that has been in my life for not even a year. Next month will be a year. I've been inspired since I was younger to write music. Some directly related to my life, some isn't. And that was always my form of expression. I think there needs to be some form of expression with anybody that's dealing with anything. You need a release. And I was fortunate enough to meet someone who afforded me the opportunity to share my music with him. In February, he completed my first song and performed it on a Disney cruise ship. It's still performed on a Disney cruise ship. And my son, Rocco, will be turning 18 in 2.5, 3 weeks, and my son will get to meet this gentleman for the first time. I'm challenged, I'm pushed, but I love it. I love what this guy's done with my work, and also trusting me with his work. Keith Anteo. Keith Anteo Music on Instagram, Keith Anteo Music on Facebook, Keith Anteo Music on YouTube. Give the guy a follow. My work with him is just starting. Since February, I've written 17 additional songs. Again, some may be dark, some not so much. Some have to do with my sons, some have to do with past experiences in my life. But this has been a form of therapy for me, on top of the therapy that I go to on a bi-weekly basis. And I have to give her credit too. She's been amazing. But Keith Anteo deserves a lot of credit for allowing me to open up and be vulnerable and conquer something that I didn't think I was good enough for, to be honest with you. And the feedback that we've gotten on our music is more than good enough. I promise you. I've always believed if you touch one person, it doesn't have to, not everybody's cup of tea is, my music isn't everybody's cup of tea. If it touches one person, if it reaches one person, I did my job. My job doesn't stop, but I did my job. Back to the Home Runs for Hope aspect of the video. Like I said, there's still a lot to work on, but as is life, it's a work in progress. We're in the infancy stages here. It's an idea that I've had. How the hell do I do it? I've never done anything like this. So I'm going to need help. I'm going to rely on people that, I trust, and accept suggestions, and build from there. But this is now an additional purpose in my life. So Dr. Fisher, 7 years ago, when you helped save my life and you told me about a purpose, I found the new one. I will begin this afternoon with creating a Facebook page dedicated solely to this. It will be called Home Runs for Hope, with the hashtag Believe Out Loud Together. That's a nod. That's a nod to a part of me that is with me. I see him. He shows up unexpectedly. But that's for him. On our Facebook page, and I'll need some help creating a website because I'm clueless when it comes to that. You'll be able to track our journey, track our plans. You'll be able to follow the progress that we've made once the journey starts next February, when I start traveling to the minor league stadiums. Pictures will be posted. There may be some pictures posted in the next few days or weeks that, I appreciate you guys for picking up on that hashtag. There'll be messages of hope from this point forward. And it's hard for me. I have a hard time with trusting people. I have a really hard time, but I'm learning. But from this point forward, I'm here for you. I'm here for everybody. I'm literally here. And my second life is going to be devoted to you. Any proceeds that are raised between merchandise that will be available, there will be t-shirts, we'll have hats, we'll have magnets, we'll have those little rubber bracelets, and tumbler cups that you can sneak your mystery beverages into your kids' youth games if you need be. I don't know anything about that at all, but I've heard of people doing that. And there will be more available. Any proceeds from that, proceeds that come from the home runs that are hit in each stadium, as I said, will go to a charity in each Major League Baseball city, focusing solely on youth that are battling mental and emotional illness, but who also participate in softball and baseball. This isn't a baseball-only thing. This is for boys, this is for girls, this is for anybody. Anybody that needs to be heard, anybody that needs just some positive attention. But my door is open. My Facebook page is open. I have the YouTube page I told you about. That's open. If you have my phone number, send me a text message. Call me. But there will be multiple ways for us to keep in touch, for you to follow the progress, follow our journey. And that's about it. 45 minutes has been, it's hard to get through, but I know it's worth it, because I'm slowly realizing that I'm worth it, and that we're all worth it. But for me, our youth is worth it. It starts with my sons, and doing everything I possibly can to make them okay, and like I said, break the cycle of keeping in your feelings or believing that you're weak if you share your feelings with your family, with your mother, with your sister, with your grandparents, with your closest friends. You're not weak. In fact, you're the opposite. You're brave. You're brave. So that concludes my my video, my message, and I accept any questions, any messages through my Facebook inbox. I expect questions. I want questions. So if you don't have my phone number and you only have access to me through social media, ask me for my phone number and we can talk. I'll share with you my struggles that continue to this day. They're 43 years plus. And I will listen. I will listen. That's been my biggest That's probably the thing that has aggravated me the most over the 43 years that I've been around, is feeling unheard. And it sucks, and nobody deserves it. Not from their family, not from a neighbor, not from a friend, not from anybody. So I promise to listen. I promise to do everything I can to help you as my sons and I begin this journey. So again, you can follow my YouTube page. It's called Just a Piece of My Mind, spelled P-E-A-C-E. And look for the Homeruns for Hope with the hashtag Believe Out Loud Together, to go live fairly soon. And when I have more to share, you'll see it on there. I'll continue to post messages through my YouTube page, but please ask me questions. Share your story with me if you're comfortable. I'm not a qualified therapist. I'm not a qualified counselor, but I'm a qualified friend. I love you all. I love my sons more than anything. I'm grateful to have this second chance of life. And on February 15th, 2023, I think I need to make my first stop at spring training in Tampa. And until then, you stay in touch with me. I'll stay in touch with you. Everybody have a great Saturday, and thank you for joining.